Hello and welcome to the Ultimate Florida Sports Show. I'm Chris Porter alongside my main man, Evan Klowski. Evan, we've got another jam-packed and fun show this week.
Yeah, it was a big week because the NFL schedules have been announced less than 4 months to the regular season. Never too early to talk about the National Football League. So, Chris, we have plenty of Bucs, Jags, and Dolphins to get through.
Red 28, black 25 said, Some good news for the NFL teams here in the Sunshine State. Between the Jags, Bucs, and Dolphins, we will see them in 10 primetime games. Plus, there's 2 international games, Jags in London at historic Wembley Stadium, and Miami playing in Madrid. And they're all set up for success, with all 3 teams coming in top 10 easiest schedules. Like that, too. And lots of early starts. All 3 teams have 11 games with 1 p.m. kickoffs. Evan, let's start with the Buccaneers, discussing the schedule here. What are your key takeaways from the schedule release for them?
First, they start the season in Atlanta. Todd Bowles is 7-3 in September as head coach of the Buccaneers. He has never lost a season opener as head coach of Tampa Bay. The Bucs were embarrassed twice last year against Atlanta, and you figure that both of these teams are going to be fighting for an NFC South championship again. So that first game is a huge tone setter. Second, we haven't seen this team win a regular season primetime game since 2022. If the Bucs want to be taken seriously this season, they got the Texans, the Lions, Rams, Falcons under the bright lights. I want to see at least 2 wins there. Finally, the Bucs only play 3 home games before November. Tampa Bay doesn't have to be special to start the year. I want to see them tread water into week 9 where they have their bye week, then go on their late typical resurgence near the end of the season, entering the playoffs so they can finish the season strong.
Okay, what is the X factor for this team to make it back to the Super Bowl?
Winning close matchups. The team won 10 games last season and went 3-6, counting the playoffs, in games decided by 1 score. It would have been 2-7 if Anthony Nelson didn't make the play of his career in Carolina as well in overtime. I ran into Todd Bowles at a local charitable event hosted by Bruce Arians, who was in Tampa, and Bowles had this to say about the importance of this very topic.
More or less everybody being on the same page when the offense, if we have a big lead, and we got to hold the ball and put the game away for a minute, and when the defense has a big lead to play with, they got to be able to close it out and not give up a cheap 3 points or touchdown at the half, and 2 minutes left in the ball game. Don't play so soft where you just let them dink and dunk all the way down the field and get off the field.
So we're going to get into the win prediction stuff later in the Ultimate Stakes, but who is the most important player on this team in 2025 for the Bucs, Evan?
I think it's Hassan Reddick. Linebackers coach Larry Foote spoke this week about Reddick and mentioned how this man is, quote, pissed off. Look, he said it, not me, all right? I don't need my bosses yelling at me. If Reddick can be a double-digit sack guy, the Bucs defense is going to be a lot better than many people think. Up there in Duval.
Come on.
Like here in Tampa, Jaguars fans could not wait to see their schedule. Chris, you're putting a lot on game 1. That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. And let me explain why the first game of the season. It's the first game of the season. Listen to this. I know the Jaguars are going to play 17. Number 1 with the momentum created by trading up and selecting Travis Hunter with that 2nd overall pick. You've got to keep the momentum going. The Carolina Panthers don't scare nobody. It's the first game for our new head coach, Liam Cohen, who at the moment we all love. And it is critical in the first game that Cohen has quarterback Trevor Lawrence balling. When you struggle like the Jags have the last 2 seasons, when he's not been able to stay healthy in back-to-back seasons, listen, Jags need to see a new look Trevor Lawrence immediately. He's being paid like an elite quarterback, and game 1 against a lesser opponent is the first opportunity for Trevor and Liam to prove things will be different in 2025.
Chris, what games on the Jags schedule caught your attention? Because it looks like early in the season, they're cooking early.
Let me start with the team's Week 2 contest at Cincinnati against quarterback Joe Burrow, who's good, Jamar Chase, who's excellent, T. Higgins, who at one point we thought would be possibly in Duval this fall. That ain't happening. That game is on the road. The Bengals are notorious for getting off to slow starts, and we need that to continue this fall. Maybe start 2-0. Another game, the Big Cats' first AFC South Division battle at home against the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud and the Texans have won the AFC South the last 2 years, and it's a game, listen, although it's early, that the Big Cats can send a message if they can steal it. And who does not like playing in prime time? Monday Night Football here in Duval against Patrick Mahomes
Slim
and the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the Jags are 7-5 at home all time on Monday Night Football. Then after their only bye week, take me to Vegas, where what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, as the Jags will battle the Raiders. And finally, week 13, we'll get to see the #1 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, Cam Ward, and our hated rivals, the Tennessee Titans.
Chris, only one game in London this year, unlike 2023 and 2024. How do the Jags faithful feel about those games in London, and especially scaling down from 2 to 1 this season?
You want rated R, or you want the PG version, of my opinion? I'll give you the G version.
The ones that don't get us fired.
Okay, the Jags have been playing in London since 2013. This will be the franchise's 14th international game, the most of any team in NFL history. And at this point, fans, we don't have a choice but to like it. I will say this. I know they'd rather play one game across the pond versus 2. Good news is the Jags are on a 2-game win streak at historic Wembley Stadium. And guess what? To our bosses, I like making the trip across the pond. I like it, Evan. I do. We got to go together, my friend.
Hey, look, if you need a partner in crime, man, pick me up in Tampa. We'll go over there together. We'll put some great content. I've never been over there for an NFL game. Would love to do it, and I feel like you'd be a great partner on a plane.
And you know what? I would come down to Tampa because I'm sure you guys have a direct flight to UK and we don't have to do all this bouncing around. Anyway, one of the guys the Jaguars
Exactly. Yeah, I got you. I'll drive you to the airport.
Yes, one of the guys the Jaguars I hope will have an outstanding season this year is cornerback Tyson Campbell. Campbell sat down with me for an exclusive interview as we talked about the pressures of living up to that big contract he signed last year, his health, how he's going to fit into new defensive coordinator Anthony Campanelli's scheme, and who else? Travis Hunter. Obviously, this organization believes in you with the big contract you signed a year ago. The last couple of years, you've had the injury bug thing going on. Have you had a different approach in the offseason as to how you prepare your body to try to hopefully avoid the injury bug in 2025?
Really, I just put my faith in Christ, and I just went back to the basics, man.
How is the hamstring?
It's good.
You're good.
I'm good to go.
What do you think of this new regime? It seems like it's a new energy, a new atmosphere around here.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, it's a lot of juice flying around the building. Guys amped up. I know Coach Camp, like, you'll hear him in the meeting, like, he ready to coach a game right now. And and the guys in the building, we ready to play right now.
This defense wasn't as good as you guys had hoped in 2024. You were talking about your new defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanelli. What role does he see you playing in this defense?
Just being a leader, man. Helping being a leader of the back seven, the DBs, and, taking control of that room and trying to be, playmaker for this defense.
All right, Travis Hunter, we took him 2nd overall. The city was buzzing when the team moved up 3 spots to get him. When we see him on television, we see a vibrant smile, fun energy, a guy who's proven he likes to work, wants to work. He says he wants to play on both sides of the ball. What have you met him? I'm pretty sure you haven't. What's your take on him?
No, I haven't met him, but I know he's a heck of a football player. Excited to see how we're going to use him on this team, and I'm excited to have him. The guys make plays all over the field.
You played this game on this level, now going into your 5th year. Do you think it's really feasible for a player to be able to play on both sides of the ball at this level?
I mean, with Christ, anything is possible, huh? You know what I'm saying? So there has to be a game plan involved. I feel like you just can't do the same thing and practice the same way, just go out and play both sides. But I feel like we just got to trust what the coaches have in store and see what their game plan is for them.
And I'm sure you're looking forward to the one-on-one matchup because you'll be going up against them.
Oh, yeah, I'm with it, man. Whoever's lining up in front of me, we're going to go at it for sure.
Are you feeling that juice that we as Jags fans are feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling that same excitement, man. I just can't wait, man. I can't wait, man. God is good, man, and I feel like, we're coming on through a breakthrough. About to come up on a breakthrough right now.
Speaking into this. Thank you, brother.
No problem.
I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Good work. And no doubt the Jaguars, Evan, need Tyson Campbell to be healthy because they really struggled in that secondary last year.
Yeah, we're all rooting for him, and what a great story of perseverance to keep on going. All right, I do want to Our producer, Tim Not Jim, is going to yell at me if we don't go into the Dolphins. Let's sneak them in very quickly. I want us to show their first 5 games of the season here. Look at this start for Miami. Colts, Patriots, Bills, Jets, and Panthers. We don't have the graphic. Don't worry. I just told you. I know it's a cliche thing to say about a team starting fast. Obviously, everyone wants to do that. But if Miami wants to make a run for their first divisional title since 2008, Chris, they have to go 4-1 in that opening stretch.
I definitely agree with you, my friend, and that you summed it up very well. Protect your quarterback, and you're going to be G-O-O-D good. And I don't know if they did enough to do that via free agency and through the draft, but hey, they've got to protect Tua. It's now time for one of the best segments of the show, the Ultimate Rush. No, we're going to the tease. We'll talk about the Ultimate Rush, and we'll run everything down 1 minute per topic. Will you come on back? It's time for one of the best segments of the show, The Ultimate Rush. We get 1 minute to discuss some of the most interesting sports stories in the Sunshine State and across the country. Evan, take it away.
I'm going to start here in Tampa with Shiloh Sanders working out at safety for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shiloh made a great first impression in town, coming into the interview room and shaking hands with every member of the media in there. He did not come off brash. He did not come off as disrespectful. He's certainly confident, but I think we can all agree, if you want to be a professional athlete, you better have some confidence or you're going to be toast. On top of that, Topo said Shiloh was one of the loudest players on the field during rookie minicamp, and he didn't mean that in a bad way. He meant it in a communicative way. Shiloh has already talked about stocking the DB room with a whole bunch of snacks, making sure that he handles those rookie duties. Chris, I was impressed with Shiloh. I don't know if he's going to make the 53-man roster, but I think many people on the outside looked at this deal as maybe a pity signing by general manager Jason Light and company. It's very clear he's going to have every opportunity to be a part of this 2025 team in some capacity, and he's built with a lot of football knowledge thanks to his father, and he's not coming in thinking anything's earned to him or owed to him. So
I definitely think when you're trying to get a job, the biggest step is getting your foot in the door, and he's already won half the battle. Whether Shiloh makes the team or not, I want to focus on how Shiloh and his brother Shador continue to prove people wrong. Too often, people confuse confidence with arrogance, and both of them have proven they are humble young men. But it's funny to me that people are in fact surprised when their father is Deion Primetime Sanders. Yes, Coach Prime has always been a confident man, but most importantly, a Hall of Fame father. And I'm not basing my opinion on what he's saying in his inspirational quotes, but I'm basing it on what I continue to see from his sons, and that is two fine young men. This week, the Dallas Mavericks made a historical jump in the NBA lottery, moving up from 11th to 1st, where where anybody with common sense would believe they're going to take Cooper Flagg with that pick. Listen, if you're the Dallas Mavericks general manager, you've got to be thinking whoever you believe is your higher power. This man, I'm sure, has not rested well since the Luka trade. The Mavs' chances of landing the pick, 1.8%. Yes, and in my humble opinion, Dallas Maverick fans deserve this, and I'm happy for them. In fact, Dallas getting the top pick in this year's NBA draft is just as shocking to me as it was when they decided to trade Luka to the Lakers. A franchise that was staring down a rebuild can thank the lottery machine because, a dire rebuild was staring them in the face. And they're going to get a prospect in the National Player of the Year, Cooper Flagg, who can flat out ball. Now, before you start emailing me, texting me, calling me, or DMing me, I know nothing is for certain in life, especially when it comes to these prospects becoming stars in the NBA, but I'm with Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly say, NBA draft lottery, might need some tinkering there. Maybe top 10 teams. I don't need teams that made the playing game in the lottery, but I also don't want to feel like teams that lose should get automatically the benefit of the doubt either. I think there's probably been a little bit too much complaining on that front.
Now to the heart of the game and to one of those sports stories that takes you beyond the X's, O's, and you don't have to be a sports fan to love it. This is Sandy Combs with a rookie everyone is talking about, first-round pick, Travis Hunter. These two went viral after a flight from Denver here to Jacksonville. Sandy told the world how this young man went out of his way to help her with her luggage and almost anything else she needed. The best part, she didn't even know who Travis Hunter was at first, but she was even more impressed when she did, that he was so humble, so kind, even knowing what was ahead of him.
I said, you didn't know you were going to have to go to work when you sat next to me. And he said, I don't mind. He said, I do it for my grandparents all the time. And that just melted my heart. That just started everything. And I said, you are just such a wonderful person. Don't change. She said, I won't. I'll never forget where I come from.
Sandy saying what a lot of folks are saying now, my friend. They want a Travis Hunter jersey. They're coming to a Jags game.
Look, first impressions, you mentioned it's everything, and that's exactly what you want to do. So Travis Hunter's going to do big things there in Jacksonville and making his status known there in the right way. Now that the NFL schedule is out, we want to give our predictions, right? We talked a little bit about the schedule, but what about the future? The win totals, where we think they're going to end up. That's coming up next in the Ultimate Stakes.
Time now for the Ultimate Stakes, where we take a look at the odds for our Florida teams and we give our thoughts.
Today, now that we have the schedules, let's take a look at the projected wins for the Bucs, the Jags, and the Dolphins. Starting with the Jags, experts have them finishing with 7.5 wins. Now, the under is plus 100, so the books are leaning towards an over here. Chris, what do you think about that number?
I think this team can win 8 or 9 games this season. And hear me out. The Jaguars were 2-10 in one-possession games in 2024. And as bad as they were last year, if we could have won half of those one-possession games last year, it would have been good enough for 9 wins, been good enough to win the AFC South Division. I'm putting my trust in Liam Cohen, taking Trevor Lawrence to the next level. So 9 wins, I say, my friend.
Yeah, we're pretty much in agreement. I'm willing to bet on this coaching staff. The talent has been there. We've seen them make the playoffs recently. They started 8-3 2 years ago before it just all fell apart. I think Jacksonville can tread water to begin the year, and you're looking at 8 or 9 wins. But I'm telling you right now, Chris, this is the last time I'm giving Trevor the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. This is a prove-it year. Now to the Bucs. The experts seem to like their schedule and have them at about 9.5 wins. Evan, you think they can hit that mark?
The Bucs are always underrated, and I'm going to go over with them as well. This is a 4-time defending divisional champion. The NFC South is also one of the weaker divisions in the league. The team has every offensive player returning, including the addition of Emeka Egbuka to the mix. So they just won 10 games with all but 2 of their losses coming by more than a touchdown. So I think 9.5 is still a great number for a team that also added more depth defensively, even if I do have questions at the linebacker position.
I agree. And, you know, I'm a firm believer that whenever you have a good quarterback, and you guys do, and Baker Mayfield, who put up career numbers last year, the Bucs can win 11, 12 games. I know Baker's going to have his 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years, but if you got the talent and talent around you, it doesn't matter who's calling the plays. I can call them. I'm going with the over.
Look, nobody knew Liam Cohen was going to be a thing, and the same goes for Josh Grizzard. I'll bet on Josh Grizzard as well. And finally, with the Dolphins, odds makers put them at 8.5 wins. But here's the thing. The line is at minus 135 towards the under, meaning people at Hard Rock believe this is not a playoff team. Sadly, I'm going to agree. I don't love the fact that Miami has 6 standalone games. Would have preferred them to move a little bit more in silence this year. I'm a huge Mike McDaniel fan, but this seems like it might be his last rodeo in town, and that's just me keeping it $1.45, Chris.
Yeah, I agree. This is a do-or-die year for him, but if they struggle early in the season, it would not be a surprise to see this team with only 6 wins. I don't think they did enough via free agency or the draft on both sides of the ball, in particular along that offensive line. You got to protect your quarterback, and they may need to rely on that defense to close out a couple of games. All right, John Gruden.
If it gets ugly before that Week 12 bye week, there's a chance that maybe Mike is fired there. That's sort of like a hot take bold prediction I got entering the season for Miami.
Are you being negative?
I don't have.
Are you being negative?
This is the negative. Look, it's been a while since I brought out the negative guy, and I am going to do it with Miami. I'm not a firm believer.
But you're backing
just like
it up with facts.
I wasn't with the Marlins either. So I'm not making any friends out there in South Beach. But that's just my opinion.
All right, John Gruden is back in pro football, this time as an owner. But what's Evan's take on this? We'll talk about it when you come on back. Time now for the last word. Evan, take it away.
For my last word, I want to talk about John Gruden. I think the work he is doing over at Barstool is fantastic. That pre-draft QB series, excellent. But can we stop sending him oodles and oodles of free stuff? If you're not online as much as your boy over here, a long time ago, John Gruden was sent a care package and shared his experience opening the box via his social media account. Well, Gruden has a ton of followers, so when others caught wind of this, they started shipping him all this free stuff. All these free boxes. It used to be jerseys and helmets, and now it's cleats, Air Jordans, ukuleles, wide receiver gloves. Look,
I like free stuff.
Putting all this stuff. Hey, look, you like it, I like it. Maybe donate some of it, maybe give it to a fan, but John does not need your free stuff anymore.